everybody, my name is Julie. Welcome back to Pages and Pens. Today I am here to talk to you about my editing process. You guys had voted on a poll in one of my prior videos and you said that you would be interested in seeing writing and editing vlogs as well as how I write and how I edit. So today's video is on how I edit. Even though currently I am like hiding from my edits, I am working on book 2 right now and I'm just really feeling the writing flow as opposed to the editing one because frankly, the writing of the first draft is so much easier than the editing of the first draft. I'm intimidated by the editing and that makes it really difficult for me to sit down and focus on it, which is a problem. So I am going to be setting some goals for myself of pages and time spent per day on editing. So I wanted to just talk to you guys about where I am in my editing process and the editing journey and what it's been like for me so far. I'm going to kind of take you from when I stopped writing the book to where I am right now and where I kind of see myself going in the future, just so that you guys have an idea of what's worked for me and what hasn't worked for me. I'm very, very lucky in that when I stop the writing process, I have, for the most part, a technically sound first edit. Grammatically, it's pretty good. A lot of my edits come by way of plot holes, character holes, things like that. Things that I need to expand, contract, if I got too wordy in certain areas. Also just kind of the mechanics of different sentence structures and scene structures. I have been so used to writing flash fiction where I cram everything into like this really, really tiny scene that when I go broader, I tend to get wordier and not necessarily pack a punch in each scene the way that I want to. So that's been a lot of what my edits are right now. Let me show you first how I started off. So this is the binder of my first draft of Dawn Till Dusk. This was unnamed at the time I started, but this is my full manuscript of my first edit. What you're going to see in here are a whole bunch of colored tabs. These were courtesy of Amber from Amber's Books and More, who I will link down below. And she and I got together and did a whole writers weekend where we peer edited one another's work and we did different tabs. So yellow were for plot holes, purple were for character questions, orange were for general notes, blue was for over or under description, needing more, needing less, and then we made notes in there. There's also just plenty of times where we just had questions for one another. So that's what all of these colored tabs are for. That worked really, really well for both of us, I think. And having somebody to live peer edit with was phenomenal. I got to sit across from her while I got her first reactions to my story, where she laughed, where she gasped, where she had to stop and put it down and be like, where is this story going? Where is this particular plot line going? I need to know. And it was so gratifying and so nerve-wracking all at once. It was terrifying and thrilling and amazing, and I loved going through hers. She loved going through mine. That was the first round of edits, was peer edits, and then that only went to a certain point. So the end of this, from this like purple tab on, so from like here on, this part I wrote after we met up, so nobody has peer edited that particular portion, although I have emailed it to her, and she hasn't gotten it back to me yet. So Amber, if you're watching this, girl, where you at? After that process, after I got everything back from her, what I did was I read through that same weekend all of her notes, and I made grammatical changes immediately. So I sat down with this giant notebook and Scrivener open, which is what I write in. I write in Scrivener, which will be in a whole other section, a whole other video about how I write. But I had this book and Scrivener out together and I went page by page and paragraph by paragraph and I took her notes where she thought something was repetitive, where there was spacing issues, grammar issues, whatever there might be. Wherever I could fix something really quickly, I went through and I fixed it really quickly. And I did that for the whole round of edits. And then I put pink little tabs up here at the top. The pink ones up here were for areas where I felt like I had to spend more time either fixing a plot, fixing a character, adding things to the story, taking things away that were going to take longer than just like a quick run through. So those got a separate tab that I had to look at a later date. So that was first round, peer edits, first round technical edits into the computer. Then what I did was I finished writing the book. I felt like I had a much clearer idea of where I was going for the end, and I moved forward with the end of the book. Once everything was done, I printed everything out, and for the first time, I sat down and I read my book front to back. Going through her first round of edits, I was really just looking at technical stuff. I wasn't rereading my work. So I sat down with a different colored pen than Amber used, and I did a first read through, start to finish, of my book, which was amazing and terrifying and beautiful and like phenomenal all at once. But I wasn't reading just to read. I was also reading to make my own notes and my own grammar changes and my own thoughts about where I wanted to expand and contract and tighten. And I was doing my own essential peer edits for this book. That's technically what we could call like round 3. So I've gone peer edit, put the technical edits into the computer, I've finished the book, I've read through it, and I put all of the edits into the book. So right now I'm on page 46, which is not that far into this giant chunk. This is where I've gotten to, going through the edits that I did on my full read through and putting them into the computer. Because a lot of these are no longer grammar. A lot of these are fixing things, adding chapters, taking away chapters, changing POVs of chapters. A lot of work goes into this particular round of edits. It feels daunting, really, really daunting. Because in my head, I feel like at the end of this round of edits, I need to have a draft that's ready to go out for beta readers. When in fact, I'll probably print it back out again, read through it again, make whatever crucial changes I need to make, and then send it to beta readers. The process is really, really long. Here's what I have decided in general, because this has been a very, very long time. I finished this book in December, and I have not really done very much with it since then. So it's been 2 full months. I haven't done very much. Granted, I'm at like 37,000 words on book 2, so I'm like moving through with book 2. I took a big break from doing anything with either of the stories right after I got done with it, and I think that was very healthy. I think that was what I needed to do. I needed to kind of put it down. Where I'm at right now with edits is I'm going to go through. I want to spend at least an hour a day. It's very hard to set page goal numbers for these edits because a lot of them, you know, I might get 5 pages done, but I might write 7,000 words because I needed to add a scene or I need to remove a scene. So my word, if I do it by word count, my word count goes down dramatically, even though I did hours of work because I was tightening and changing things. I'm going to dedicate an hour a day to editing book 1. Right now, that's what I can kind of give. When I can give more, I will. But I want to spend an hour editing book 1 and an hour writing book 2 every single day. Hopefully I can do more than that for editing. My writing tends to happen 8 p.m. and after. My editing can really happen anytime during the day. My goal is to do some hardcore editing. I want to make all of the changes that I had in my first read through of the full entire novel. And then I want to go back through and print it again, which is going to be pricey. And then on the second draft of edits, I will do scene tightening, sentence tightening, get rid of words that don't need to exist in sentences. A lot of that is so technical, and I really want to focus on the plot and the characters in this particular round of edits, making sure the character relationships make sense, making sure that everybody is vibing and gelling, and that the story has a solid foundation in both world setting and characters building. So that's what I want this round of edits to be. And then the next round of edits will be each sentence and picking it apart and how to perfect each particular sentence and each particular scene to make it as impactful as some of my short stories. When I look at my short story reviews or you guys talk to me about the short story collection that I put out and the flash fiction that I put out, is that they're so hard hitting in such a short span of time. And I feel like a lot of that is lacking, and not every scene in this book can be like that because it is a full novel. But some of the scenes need to be more that. Bones for the rest of the series, that's what I need to focus on. And grammar. And then the second round of edits is going to be tightening each sentence and tightening each scene. And then I'm going to send it out to beta readers. And that's my goal right now. In the future, I need to be a lot gentler with myself. I feel like grammar is its own series of edits. You go through and you grammar. Another one, maybe you read through and you read through for timeline continuity. Another one you read through and it's for characters. Another one you read through and it's for plot tightness and plot progression. I have gotten myself into the mindset that I can only do this first round of edits and then I need to send it out into the world, and that's just not true. I have a lot of different aspects of the editing process in this one first round. My notes to you would be, if you're doing a round of edits, or if I've edited your book and you're looking at them and it's so daunting, I get it. I totally do. Take it bit by bit. maybe break down the notes that you're getting back from somebody and do all the grammar first, and then do all the character, and then do the plot after that. Doing it all at once is very overwhelming. And even I, who am a professional editor, who has written before and published a book before and tightened a whole collection and tried to make sure that there was a thread that drove that collection, like I'm not a stranger to editing, and I'm not a stranger to trying to cohesively put a story together. This is a lot, and it feels very overwhelming. I've kind of taken notes from what I feel works best for me, what I feel like is going to be most manageable, and also from some of the other authors that I look at on Instagram and their Insta stories and how they go through their editing process. I was watching Tomi Adeyemi, who wrote the Children of Blood and Bone, and she was saying that her first draft is a hot mess, and that 98% of her first draft you'll never see in the finished book, and that there's like a dozen edits after that. And I was like, oh my goodness, I put so much pressure on myself to make sure the first draft is perfect, and it's just not going to be, like, ever. I think that a lot of that is me getting used to writing a full-length novel and then going into the edits realistically in a breakdown that makes sense. It's not impossible. It's overwhelming, but it's not impossible. And writing an imperfect first draft is always easier than fixing a first draft, especially when I'm a really, really tough critic of myself. So I feel like there's so much work that needs to be done. But at some point, I'm going to have to trust this over to other people. It's a long process, and I know you guys are so pumped, and that every video that comes out about these books, you guys get really, really into it, and I love that. But the process is really long when it comes to this, because I don't have a team behind me. I don't have quote-unquote corporate deadlines, and I don't have a team of people that are editing it for me and then giving me their thoughts, and I just have to go in and like make quick corrections. A lot of this is on my own. Ridiculous amounts of thanks to Amber, because that first round of edits were so vital to get somebody's feedback on the story and on the characters. That was really, really key to me, and I am so thankful that she was there to do that. That is where I'm at with my editing as of right now. That's where I'm going forward. So going forward is going to be setting goals for every single day, getting through my this first round of my own edits, and then probably doing another reprint and reading through for continuity, and then sentence structure and scene structure, and then hopefully some beta readers, which is really, really, really exciting. I am very hard at work, guys, here at all times. You guys know that if you follow me on my Insta stories. I'm always doing something. I always have a goal. I always have something that is driving me towards the next accomplishment. So that's where I'm at with my editing process. That's what it's looked like for me personally. It looks different for everybody, but that's what it's looked like for me and what's working for me right now. And then we're going to see how things go forward in terms of what works for me in the future. And I will probably be doing editing vlogs and writing vlogs after I do these like how I videos. I'll probably put up some vlogs so that you guys can watch these, understand what I'm going to be doing, and then enjoy the vlogs on a different level. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I hope it's been interesting to you. I hope it's given you some tips or tricks for editing. If you have any to give to me, please give them to me. I would love to know them. That's it for right now. If you want to check out Quills and Keys, which is my professional editing company, definitely check it out in the description box down below. There's also an amazing newsletter that goes out every single Monday full of writer inspiration and tips and tricks and tools. You guys should absolutely check it out. I hope you will. And that list has been growing, and I've been loving that. And the interaction with my newsletter every week, people responding back and replying back to the newsletter, has been phenomenal. So definitely check that link out down below. If you're interested in Shoot Down the Wendy Bird, my collection of flash fiction and poetry, that's also linked down below. I hope you'll give it a read. I'm very, very proud of it. It's a completely different project than the one I'm working on right now, but one that I'm still very proud of. All my social media links are also down below if you want to stalk me on Insta stories, because that's where I am all the time when I'm not vlogging. And for now, that's everything. If you guys like this video, be sure to give me a big thumbs up, click subscribe, and I will see all of you in my next video. Bye, guys.